Taylor angrily hits Brooke when she discovers Ridge's intentional kiss with Brooke. Taylor's fingers trembled as she gripped the edges of the glossy photograph. The paper was warm from the spot where her hand had been clenching it for the past 5 minutes, but the image it held might as well have been dipped in ice. There they were, Ridge and Brooke. Not a fleeting brush of lips. Not an awkward accident. But a kiss. Intentional, deliberate, lingering. The world around Taylor blurred as though the air itself had thickened. The rustle of the eucalyptus trees outside her window faded into nothing. All she could hear was her own heartbeat hammering inside her ears. The memory of Ridge's voice from last night slithered back. "You know you're the only one for me, document." He had looked into her eyes with that warm, steady gaze he always used when he wanted her to believe him. She had believed him. And now, Taylor's chair scraped harshly against the hardwood as she rose. The photograph crumpled in her tightening fist. She didn't bother with her purse. She didn't bother locking the door. All she knew was the drive, the boiling, single-minded need to confront the woman who had been the thorn in her side for decades. Brooke's house smelled faintly of roses and champagne, the way it always did, like temptation wrapped in elegance. Taylor didn't knock. The front door was ajar, sunlight pouring in across the tiled floor like a spotlight. Brooke was in the living room, flipping through a fashion magazine, her hair catching the light in golden waves. "Taylor," she greeted, her voice mild, surprised. "This is The rest of her sentence was drowned out by the sharp crack of Taylor's hand against her cheek. The sound rang in the air, louder than it should have been. Brooke's head whipped to the side, hair swinging, one hand instinctively flying to the spot where the sting bloomed. For a moment, there was only the faint hum of the air conditioner. "You," Taylor spat, her voice trembling but firm, "will never stop, will you?" Brooke blinked, her surprise hardening into something like caution. "I don't know what you think." Taylor's laugh was sharp and humorless. "Don't you dare play innocent with me, Brooke. I saw it. I saw the two of you. And it wasn't a mistake. Ridge wanted it. And so did you." Brooke set the magazine aside with deliberate slowness. "Taylor, you know Ridge, and I have history." "History?" Taylor's voice rose, her hands curling into fists at her sides. "What you have is destruction. Everywhere you go, every man you touch. Families fall apart, people lose everything, and you stand there like you're above it all. But not this time. Not with my family." Brooke's eyes flashed. "Your family? Ridge is not your possession. He's a man who can make his own choices." Taylor stepped closer, so close that Brooke could feel the heat of her anger radiating off her. "Don't you dare talk to me about choices. You slither your way in with your smiles and your soft words until you've poisoned everything. You've done it for years, and somehow people still give you the benefit of the doubt. Well, not me. Not anymore." Brooke's expression shifted, just slightly, but enough for Taylor to see it, the flicker of guilt behind the defiance. Taylor's voice dropped, quieter now, but so much more dangerous for it. "Do you have any idea what it's like to believe someone has finally chosen you, only to find out you're just a placeholder until Brooke Logan decides she wants to play?" Brooke's lips parted as if to answer, but Taylor cut her off. "I'll tell you," she continued, her voice breaking despite herself. "It feels like having your ribs cracked open while you're still breathing. It feels like the air's been sucked out of the room. And it feels exactly like this photograph in my hand." She held up the crumpled picture and let it fall to the floor between them. Brooke glanced down at it, her jaw tightening. "I didn't." Taylor's open palm cut through the air again. Not another strike, but a warning. "Don't. You lie." The two women stood there, inches apart, neither willing to look away. Outside, a car passed, its engine fading into the distance. Somewhere in the kitchen, the fridge clicked on. The moment stretched, taut as wire. Finally, Brooke spoke, her tone clipped. "You think hitting me will make Ridge love you more?" Taylor's laugh was bitter. "No. I think telling the truth will. And if he still can't see through you after this, then maybe I've been in love with a fantasy all along." Brooke's voice softened, too much, like silk over glass. "Taylor, You're letting your anger cloud your judgment. Ridge loves you. Taylor shook her head. If he loved me the way I thought he did, he wouldn't have kissed you. And you wouldn't have kissed him back. Brooke's gaze fell briefly to the photograph on the floor before lifting again. Sometimes people make mistakes. Mistakes are tripping over a rug, Taylor snapped. What you two did was a choice. They stood in silence again, the weight of decades between them, affairs, betrayals, moments of almost friendship shattered by the next inevitable blow. Finally, Taylor stepped back, her breath still sharp in her chest. Stay away from Ridge. Stay away from me. And if you ever pull something like this again, her eyes narrowed. I won't stop at a slap. Brooke didn't answer. She simply straightened her shoulders, the faintest mark of Taylor's hand still pink against her skin. Taylor turned and walked out, the door swinging shut behind her with a decisive thud. Outside, the afternoon sun seemed far too bright for what had just happened. Taylor stood on the porch for a moment, trying to steady herself. The anger still burned hot, but underneath it was something colder. Hurt. Not just at Brooke. At Ridge. At herself for believing that this time might be different. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A message from Ridge. We need to talk. Taylor stared at the screen for a long time before tucking it away. Ridge could wait. For now, she needed to breathe. Inside, Brooke stood alone, the faint echo of the confrontation still hanging in the air. She touched her cheek again, her fingers grazing the tender skin. Her eyes drifted to the crumpled photograph on the floor. Slowly, she bent to pick it up, smoothing it against her palm. Her lips curved, just slightly, into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Because deep down, Brooke knew this wasn't the end. It never was.